guys, it's Tony, and today we'll be taking a look at a Zoroark Golisopod deck in the expanded format. Zoroark Golisopod first hit the scene when it won the European International Championships, when Tord Reklev won his second Intercontinental in a row, but the deck transfers over really well to the expanded format, and it gains a lot of new tricks and tools that can use it to help win games. So obviously we run 4 Zorua and 3 Zoroark GX. Zoroark has a trade ability which lets you discard a card and draw 2. This is really strong, lets you dig through your deck as well as get extra draw beyond your supporter for the turn. And for 2 colorless, does Ridus Beating, which is 20 times the number of bench Pokemon in play. Now, normally it's standard format you kept to 120, 150 of the choice band. In the expanded format, a lot of decks play Skyfield. Now this deck doesn't play Skyfield, and I'll go into that later, but because you don't really need it in the decks. But we also play no stadium, so once a Skyfield has played, it'll stick. So we'll let our opponent play Skyfield for us. We also play one baby Zoroark. Has a stand ability which you put in the active with a float stone. This is basically a switch to whatever you want. And Mind Jack is 10 plus 30 for each your opponent's active Pokemon. This is really good. It one shots a Mega Ray if they have. If you happen to play against that, and they put the 7 on the bench to one-shot Zoroark. Also in the Zoroark Mirror, where a full bench with Skyfield and Choice Band hits 210, this takes a one-shot kill. We are on a 3-2 Golisopod line. We play this one pod because of the Wind Pod ability. If we start it, we can just retreat it for free. This is a really good ability, and even though the attack's not as good, the ability alone makes this the Wind Pod we want to run. I'm going to run 2 Golisopod GX, which is 30 plus 90 if you bring it to the bench to the active, and Armor Press does 100 and reduces 20, and we have the GX attack. The only GX attack we use is the Crossing Cut 150 and you switch to the bench. This can be used to preserve your Golisopod and your energy attachments, as well as if a Choice Band hit 180 knock out many relevant EXs like Tapu Lele and anything with 180 HP or less. Now for Pokemon, we're on 1 Sudowoodo, which limits your opponent's bench to 4. This is really important in this format, which is extremely Zoroark dominant. If you can limit their bench to 4, you can limit their damage output and turn it into a grindy 2-shot game, which is kind of what we want. That's what this deck is built for. 1 Mew EX, which its versatile ability lets it use any attack on the field as long as it's necessary energy. Buzzwole is seeing some play in expanded. And this just one-shots a Buzzwole with a DC attachment copying Ridus Beating, or even a First Impression, or an Armor Press. And if you ever see anything Psychic weak, that'll be the time to use Mew EX. We play 1 Oricorio as our Night March counter. Supernatural Dance lets you put a Pokemon, 1 damage counter on each Pokemon for each Pokemon in the discard pile. It's really good Night March, which aims to discard a lot of Pokemon. Your Night matchup's still really hard, but with smart trading and using Oricorio, you can swing the matchup in your favor for sure. Run 1 Execute. Why would we run a 30 HP basic that we can't attack with or evolve? Well, simple. For the ability Propagation. It says once during your turn, if it's in your discard pile, you can put it into your hand. This is really good synergy with trade or cards at the discard like Ultra Ball and Computer Search, because you can just discard it for free, put it back into your hand, and even though it says once during your turn, the way the rules of the game work, once a card goes into your hand is private knowledge, so they don't know, your opponent doesn't know how many executes you have in your hand, so there's no way for them to know if you played the same execute. So you can use Propagation as many times as you want during your turn. You could use Propagation as many times as it hits the discard pile, even though it says once during your turn. And lastly, run 2 Tapu Lele to just grab supporters and increase consistency. And for our supporters, run 2 Sycamore to discard or hand draw 7 standard, 2 N, 1 Mallow, which lets us put the top 2 cards in our deck. This is really good synergy with trade because we can put 2 cards on top of our deck, use trade to draw them. 2 Bridget lets us get 3 basics and help set up our bench. 2 Acerola lets us pick up damage. And then we're not playing a very one-shot oriented deck. We're also playing Sudowoodo to stop a lot of the Zoroark one-shots. Having the 2 Acerola really helps compared to decks that usually run 1, because we want to just take 2 shots and Ace Arola since they can't one-shot us. If they play Alolan Muck and fill up their bench to one-shot with Zoroark GX, that means that that their Sudowoodo is turned off as well, to which point we can just fill up our bench and trade one-shots, because we won't have to worry about our Skyfield get Sudowoodo being turned back online unless you choose to knock out their Alolan Muck. So run 2 Guzma for the switching effect. And now we have the expanded supporters that that aren't legal in the standard format but are still really good. We have 1 Getsis, which is a really good disruption card. It lets you reveal your opponent's hand and shuffle any item card in your deck and draw a card. If you go first, this can cripple decks like Night March, which are really reliant on items. It can just steal you games. Also late game, when Zoroark GX decks, since they're using 2 to 3 trades every single turn, as well as drawing lots of cards with like Chorus, which we'll go over next, you can use this and draw 8-9 cards that I've done before. I'll also play against really item dependent decks like Archie's Blastoise, and I've milled all 7 cards from their hand and they just scoop immediately. They have no hand to start the game. Chorus is another really good expanded supporter, which lets you shuffle your hand to your deck and then draw a number of cards equal to the bench Pokemon. With Bridget being so popular in play, if you have year 5 or 4, if they have a Sudowoodo and they have their 4, you play this card, shuffle and draw 8. Not only are you drawing 8 cards, which is really strong at like the very least, your opponent, you also have access to multiple trades, which are free with Execute, and some turns, even if you guys are both locked with Sudowoodo limiting bench sides, you can draw up to 14 cards of your deck, which is a huge chunk, and you basically hit everything you need. Also play 4 VS Seekers, which lets you get any supporter from your discard pile into your hand. This is really strong, which lets us play stuff like 2 Ace Arola, 2 Guzma, like 1 Chorus, because once we get it into our discard and play it, we can just get VS Seeker and get whatever supporter we need back again. Play 4 Ultra Ball to grab Pokemon, 4 Puzzle at a time. When we play 2 at a time, it lets us get 2 cards back from our discard pile. These can be VS Seekers, Energy, other key resources. And they're also really easy to draw into when you have cards like Chorus and Trade drawing you massive portions of your deck and get you access to cards that you need to take crucial knockouts. We run 1 Rescue Stretcher to get back Pokemon, 1 Field Blower to discard tools, 1 Computer Search, which is one of the strongest cards in Expanded. I think the real card is worth selling for like $80. And it's our A-Spec card. You can only play 1 A-Spec card total in your deck, and it's still $80. It's insanely strong. Unless you discard 2 cards from your hand, which is 1 if you propagate with Execute, and you search your deck for any card, like no restrictions. You don't even have to show your opponent, so they can not know what you get. What I do sometimes, if it's not extremely obvious on the grab, like my hand's dead, I'm grabbing a Sycamore. But if I'm grabbing something like to use in the turn in addition to other things I'm using, since it's any card, you don't have to show your opponent. So what you can do is you can take it, put it face down to your hand, and kind of shuffle your hand around a little bit to let your opponent, so your opponent doesn't know, did they play the card they got, or did they grab something for next turn, or just an extra thing to have, and it can kind of like conceal some information. Play 1 Enhanced Hammer, which discards Special Energy, which is really strong in this format. We only play, because pretty much every deck relies on Special Energy. We only have 1, but we can reuse them with Puzzle at times, and a lot of time when there's 4 double colorless, 1 Enhanced Hammer is enough. Run 2 Choice Band will let you do 30 to more GXs and EXs, which helps you hit relevant numbers. Floatstone gives you free retreat, which is really good with the Zoroark Breakthrough. And for the energy, run 4 double colorless. This helps pay for Wonder Tag. You can use Mew with it, tag with Oricorio, helps power up the Armor Press and Crossing Cut, as well as Riotous Beating and Mind Jack. It's just the best energy thing. We can recover it with Puzzle at a time. So even though we have 4, if we need to, we can have access to 8. I'll also play 3 Grass Energy to help power up the Golisopod's First Impression and the rest of its attack. And that's the deck, and it's a really strong pick for the upcoming standard format, and I believe Dallas Regionals are coming up soon, which is expanded. So I'd say this is a really strong play and a contender to take the event. let's hop into a game and see how it runs. Okay, let's see. We found the game against, I think, can't see the name right now, but I believe it was like Sports Fan JP. Yeah, but there's no O. I guess the other Sports Fan JP was taken. It looks like we're gonna be going second this game. Fortunately, I didn't catch the types that it was showing, and this is one of our ideal starters, Wimpod, because it says free retreat. And this hand is actually pretty good. Now we have a really interesting decision on what we want to do. Do we want turn 1 Getsis or turn 1 Bridget? Depending on what my opponent does in the matchup, it looks like playing against another Zoroark deck. So I believe the correct play is to turn 1 Bridget. Yeah. So that's probably what we're going to be doing. So our opponent Bridget's. Looks like we're playing against another Zoroark Golisopod deck. This deck plays Tapu Koko for the free retreat, which helps you navigate first impressions, which I believe is really good. And we also get the Bridget off the top. So that's good. One good thing that we can do here, since our opponent, actually we prized our Pseudo-Udo, which is actually really bad in this matchup. Since we want to limit his bench to 4 and limit his damage with Zoroark GX. One of the things you can do is that if they play 4 bench down before you get your Pseudo-Udo out, you can stop them from playing their Pseudo-Udo and have your bench unrestricted. Since we started the Wimpod, I think we just go 3 Zorua here, since he can knock one out quite easily. And I think we pass the turn from here. I don't think we play the puzzle of time because we can computer search for Chorus next. We're probably going to computer search for Chorus next turn, and the Ultra Ball discards Oricorio and whatever we get off the top, or the puzzle depending on what's on top. So I don't believe it helps us to play the one puzzle. If you know you're going to Sycamore next turn or discard it, or like Sycamore next turn, or for some reason it get discarded, you can play the one puzzle to stack your deck to get an optimal draw. So let's see, he draws. Well, our opponent's deck is nice and shiny. I like it. He has the gold Ultra Balls from Plasma Freeze, but doesn't even have reverse hollow Wimpods. Let's see, what is our opponent gonna do? Is he gonna hit the Zoroark? Yeah. Looks like he's gonna flying flip here. I'm not really sure why he would do that, because I have a really interesting. So computer search. Discard Acerola and Guzmo. Or computer search for a Chorus. For actually 7. Or what do we compute? What are our options? Chorus and Sycamore. Or we could get Mallow. No, Mallow's not good enough. I think we Chorus, since we have the puzzle piece in our hand, it just shuffles it back in. It also gets Chorus in our discard. Now we Ultra Ball away gets this and Oricorio for sure. The question is, what do we grab? Do we grab Zoroark GX? Or do we grab another basic to bench? Because we need to hit 2 more basics this turn. Knock out this Tapu Koko and the DCE. I think we grab a Zoroark, because Zoroark will let us draw cards, which gives us more chance to hit basics afterwards. But if we hit basics and no Zoroark, the basics won't let us draw cards. So we'll Chorus for 7 and see what we hit. So we hit 1 basic. So what we're going to do is we're going to discard the Acerola, since we don't want to. So we're going to want to end, so we have this in our hands. And we hit another basic. So the play we're probably going to make now is, since he benched all these, we can actually take a knockout with the Baby Zorua and keep our Zoroark safe. So that's what we want to do. Because we don't want to bench this Mew, because it's a really easy 2 prizes. We also want to take this knockout to not only get rid of a DCE, but take tempo in the game. So it's just a simple DCE respawn KO, But now we can start getting into the sluggy two-shot wars that this matchup becomes. So I think he has to grab a Lele here. Or an XIQ to use trades, but that'd be really greedy. So if I were him, I would grab Chorus. Which probably was going to grab. Or N. Strange, since I guess bringing my 7-card hand down to 5. All I did after the N was trade and evolve and attach. I didn't show too many signs of my hand containing anything good. Alright, so this hand's put us in an awkward position. If we had it would be really nice if we could just top deck a double colorless energy or another puzzle so we can just get it back and then use Tapu Lele. Let's see. One. So Ultra Ball. We don't want to attach grass here. And Lele is an easy 2 prizes with crossing cut. So we want to grab another Zoroark. Evolve the Zoroark. And since we're gonna stick more anyways, let's play the puzzle to see what we're working with. Okay, so let's go. We're gonna draw to our XQ, which allows trade for free and an Ultra Ball to get another basic or a Zoroark if we need it. So there's a Zoroark GX. Let's Ultra Ball first to get the Pokemon out of our deck and bench it so that way we don't draw into it and can draw in the more useful cards. So let's grab a Wimpod so we can start hitting for 120. And we did not draw into a DCE. We have 4 cards to hit it. We could also hit into a grass or a puzzle, I suppose. But it's actually really huge hitting the DCE this turn. We hit DCE and Enhanced Hammer, which means he will need our DCE or double puzzle in order to attack. He's used 1 DC already, but no puzzles. One Enhanced Hammer. Use Riotous Beating for 120. Now next turn, the max damage output he has right now, unless he plays Skyfield, which I don't believe he does, is 150, which will bring us up to 170. We can then hopefully hit a VS Seeker, which we have not played any, or a puzzle to grab another puzzle to grab Acerola to pick it up. And if he doesn't have Acerola, oh, looks like he's gonna go in with the Zoroark GX, which is hitting actually for 190. That's actually really bad. Tapu Koko spread's coming in, so he's gonna go to the 3, and we're gonna go down to 4. But this is also heavily damaged, so unless he Acerolas in the next 2 turns, which he probably will have access to, this is putting us in kind of a bad spot. But if he misses a DCE here, this is huge. But has he used 1 trade? So I think he's drawing 11 cards. And he hit the DCE, as he should have. I'd be surprised if he missed it. So he takes a knockout here. I think now Mal's in our discard, right? No, I think now might be the time to Mallow. I think we're gonna want the Floatstone on the Wimpod. So I guess that's the best thing to put active. And this can also take a knockout on Lele if we find a Guzma. So let's grab the Mallow here. Okay, actually, let's play a Mallow first, just so. I want to grab a Zoroark GX. And actually, Grass Energy. Have we used 2 DCE so far? I believe we have, yes. So we didn't prize any. And we have both puzzle left, so what we can do is with the first double puzzle we play, we get back one puzzle and one other card. Then we use the puzzle we get back to play with the second one, so we can still get both activations. And we only lose one card that way out of a discard instead of 2 recovery. So those are our best options, I believe. And this is where Execute comes in really huge in this matchup. Just being able to trade for free, because we don't want to discard any of these 2 important cards in our hand. But also, we do have the option to discard random cards to thin our deck out to make us less vulnerable to late game ends. So, even though that Zoroark swing is really annoying, we need to take 2 EX or GX knockouts. I mean, 2 GX knockouts after this. We knock out the Zoroark, so we're on the 4. I think 2 of our prizes come from this Lele. 2 of them come from here if you can't find Acerola. But with another Acerola and 3 Sycamore and 4 puzzle, he's probably going to hit it. So it looks like we're a little bit behind in a 2-shot grind. Probably should have evolved into Golisopod, but a small misplay that I don't think will hurt us. So maybe somehow he misses the Acerola, or just decides not to play it. I don't know. Maybe he's just not playing. You have to keep his options open after trades. Or maybe his 4 outs to Acerola are in these 13 cards. Nope, there it is. Oh, it's a non-full art supporter. Kind of disappointed after all these. He doesn't even have full art Karen either. That's seems like an easy one to get. I'm beginning to think that maybe he doesn't run puzzle. Saying we haven't seen a single sign of it. So this is where we start the Acerola wars, essentially. Before we make any plays, though, I want to use both our trades to see what we can get access to. Because who knows, maybe the plays will want to make changes. It's one of the examples where we want to discard a card from our hand instead of using Execute, because Bridget's a dead card. We just want to get rid of it. So let's see, I think the best play we can make here is just Acerola-ing up, and we just start the 2-shot war. Because if he doesn't play puzzle, this is a war we easily win. And we need to be careful with this Zoroark, because the flying flip puts us in knockout range from the baby, which I think is a way we lose this game. If he doesn't play puzzle, we're fairly safe. But maybe he just has 4 puzzle in his hand, in which case I don't see how we win this game. You never know though. I've played in League Cups where I'm just passing until you finally get an opening, and you can just win games you thought you lost. So let's see. There's no way if he plays puzzle he doesn't have a double puzzle in hand. So is he going to crossing cut here or armor press? He's going to crossing cut my thing, Lele on 3 prizes. In which case a Guzma can just knock out our win pod and just win. Pod. So let's see, we can't play a disruption card and play at the same time. What are our options here? Is there anything in our deck that can help us? We can grab Computer Search with Double Puzzle. No, he looks like he's just gonna kill the Wimpod for game. So our best option is just kill this Golisopod. Hope he doesn't get the Wimpod next turn. Then we have all the cards we need to get the win next turn. Yep, it looks like he is just going to kill our Wimpod, since he has pretty much every card in his deck in his hand. And that looks like this is gonna be it. Let's see if he plays puzzle. So grab another Golisopod. It's going to most likely going to attach grass, Guzma this up, first impression for knockout. And that's exact. He played 3 Guzma. Yeah, he does. Looks like he doesn't play puzzle. So unfortunately there was no way to play a disruption card and get it. And even though we lost this game, I think it's a pretty good example of what the deck can do and what the deck's capable of. And also you can see how the mirror match plays out. So even though we lost, I feel like this is a good game we can learn from. And sometimes, you know, games just go that way where there's really nothing you can do, but if you play to your outs, you know, and you still lose, you can, it happens sometimes. Like, I feel like we're in a really commanding position, and then our opponent made some plays that helped him swing the tide of the game. I guess this is a lesson to never give up and keep on playing, even no matter how bleak the situation gets. And I think the mirror, if you're playing in the expanded format, a Zoroark mirror or something of that sort is something that you can expect to see 100%. And I feel like this game is a good example of that. So see you next time, and don't forget to subscribe.